Hey guys, today we are going to be building a mobile slider which increases and decreases the price of an item in a mobile application or a website. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Fidel. This promises to be an interactive section. Please do also click on the subscribe button, like the video as we proceed to the design. So this is the end product of the design we are going to be building. We You don't need to focus on anything, just this. So let's go in. First of all, we want to duplicate the screen. Then we can do away with that. Okay, let's do away with this because this is where we are going to be placing the design. Now let's go ahead and do our mobile slider. First, we want to create a frame of 343 width and 16 pixel height. Then we increase the radius to about 12 pixels there. Change this color. Let's create a rectangle of the same size. To create a rectangle, you already know. If you don't know, the simple keyboard shortcut to do it, and click on the arrow key on your keyboard to create a rectangle with the same size, 343 width and 16 pixel height. Also radius, maintain radius. Now this rectangle, we want to change the color to blue. Next, we will be inserting this rectangle into the frame. Make sure that the frame is on clip content. Then we push the rectangle in the frame all the way down. To about there. Now let's rename the frame. We can call it slide frame. When doing animations on Figma, renaming your frames are very important to keep you in line with what you're doing. Now we want to create our knob. The knob is to help us drag. To simply do that, we create a circle. We're using the ellipse tool of 44 width and 44 height. Now we want to color this white. And I want to give it a simple elevation. You can create your own elevation manually by clicking drop shadows. Then you can easily manipulate these values. For me, I usually use glow 8 spread to yes. But if you don't want to go through this, there are simple elevations for you. You can make use of on Figma. Or let's undo that so we can apply the elevation on Figma. Simply undo this, we just delete the effect we've added to the knob. Then we add a simple elevation on it using 4. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. So let's add this to our frame. Now you see when I bring the ellipse towards the frame, it enters into the frame. To avoid this, we can just use the arrow key on your keyboard to push the ellipse over the frame and make sure that it is centered at the extreme. Now I want to group this together. So group, Ctrl G. Now we have our first slider. Now we'll proceed to adding numbers. You click on your T key on the keyboard to add number. I will call this 0. If you look at where I add the number, I add it downwards because it's going to be scrolling 100. Okay, I'll be quick with this. Now I want to increase the size of our numbers here and center them. Next, we want to add a frame over these numbers. Make sure the numbers are inside the frame. Now I want to remove the color of the frame. Just click on the minus sign beside. Then we rename the frame. We can call it counter. Now you can see that this frame is on clip content. We use that to clip the remaining numbers. Now we add the frame to our design. Next, we add a text of USD beside the frame. Make sure it is centered. Now we want to group this together. Ctrl G to group. Everything is looking perfect, but we are not there yet. So let's add a little text because we are moving from 0 to 500. Now we are adding a text of max 500. This is just to let whoever is using the counter know, or whoever is using the app know, that you're moving the maximum price of whatever he or she is trying to buy is 500. Now I want to reduce the text size, makes the system, sorry, let's make it back bold. Now reduce the color. Now we are done with the first part. In order to frame this, we can just click on the F key on your keyboard and drag a frame over our design. Delete the color and rename this slider slash 0. The reason for the slash 0 is when creating a component set, it helps to create properties and variants. The 0 for this slider is the price of the USDT for the first frame, because we're moving over to the second frame. So we duplicate this and rename this 500. That is the maximum price. Now we want to adjust our values for this frame. We push this knob to the extreme end, and to easily do that, we just go over to this align and align them to the extreme. We want to do the same for this frame, align them to the extreme. Now we want to change our numbering, the counter, from 0 to 500, which is the max. So I will be fast with this. We have our first slider from 0 counting over to 500 in the second slider. Now we want to group this together. No, not group. Hold them together to create our component set. Now created the component set, we want to add some interaction. We are almost there. Now the interaction we're adding it on the knob because it's the one we are going to hold and drag. So we select the knob, push it over to this, and we're going to be changing this to on drag, removing them to property number 2, which is 500. Now you see what we're saying. When we rename the slider, it gave them a property name automatically. So we're going to be using smart anime ease out of 300 millisecond. We come over to the second slider, we do the same on drag, change to property 0. Now we are done. Now let's see how our design comes up in preview mode. First of all, we already have our screen here. Let me just drag it to this place real quick. When you do things like this, you can go to Asset to drop your design, because when you change them to components, you find them under Asset. Now, this is the first one I have. This is the second one I just designed. So I want to drag this into our design. And to show I aligned it well, I already have an inbuilt grid. So Shift G to show the grid and to show that the alignment is proper. Yes, there. Shift G again to remove the grid. If you don't want to drag it from asset, you can actually drag from the slider itself into the design. But either way, it works. Now let's see how our design comes up. Yeah, there you go. Your mobile slider to interchange price. If you found this video helpful, please do also click on the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and like this video, and leave a comment on the next video you want me to do. Yeah, bye for now.